Perfect. Awesome. Awesome. So again, I'm Peter Gay Barrett with Barret Fitness and Barret Fitness and Nutrition. I am a certified personal trainer, certified nutrition specialist, and I'm certified in women's fitness specialization. Nutrition of the fitness and nutrition. Nutrition is more of my passion. You and I had this conversation, Gerald, just the importance of the food that you eat just in general, for life and sustenance. And that's what we'll kind of talk about today. So thank you for having me.
I appreciate that. Pleasure to have you today. So, like I was talking to people, I was telling them the what happens when you have kidney disease, and what happens, what you need to emit from diet, what you need to keep eating, and that's what for, because the moment most people get sick, we tend to limit them from taking what they are confused on, what should we take, and such kind of stuff. So we want to help the out there who perhaps has kidney disease, or they know someone who has disease. Basically the kind of foods they can always get when they go for shopping, grocery shopping, anywhere, they can be able to access it, and these foods are healthy for them. So let's dive into that. Those foods that
one first thing that I guess I kind of want to say is we want to prevent kidney disease. That's the first thing that we want to do. And the conversation that you and I had, last week, we talk about kidney diseases and, what kidney disease actually is, and, things that you can do to prevent kidney disease, things that you can do once you have kidney disease to prevent it from getting worse. But number one tip, if I can give anyone out there, is to do the things that's going to prevent you from being in that position in the first place. Because once your kidneys start to fail, and you know this more than I do, Gerald, it's hard. It's hard getting it back to normal state or where it's acting healthy. And once it gets to a certain stage, there's dialysis and so forth. But you want to eat the foods in the first place that's going to prevent kidney disease, that's going to prevent diabetes, that's going to prevent high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and those are factors that contribute to kidney disease. So if you eat your fresh fruits and vegetables and balance your diet, just in general, like I'm not saying restrict your diet. Like you don't have to be on a diet to prevent kidney disease, right? Would you agree with that, Geros? Are you still having issues hearing me? Are you still having issues hearing me, Gerald?
You're still breaking a little bit, though not stable, but you can get me now.
I wish I knew what the issue was. I'm so sorry. So we'll talk about, just different foods that you should eliminate probably from your diet, and just give you some of the things that you can probably replace them with in your diet. But first, I was wanting to talk about how to prevent kidney disease, in the first place, by having a balanced diet, and not restricting your diet necessarily from anything, because you don't have to be on a diet to prevent kidney disease. You just have to have, a fairly healthy diet. You have to stay away from, foods that are high in, simple sugars, the carbohydrates and junk food and sodas and, just overindulgence of the food that doesn't really have any nutritional value, and have a fresh, clean diet for the most part, and do the things that's going to help prevent diabetes, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, because those are the things, some of the factors that contribute to having kidney disease. So, as we have this conversation, if you guys there's someone who may have kidney disease, or you want to know what you can do to prevent kidney disease. But you can only know you have kidney disease, or if your kidney is not functioning properly, by doing blood work. I don't know if you can hear me, Gerald, if you can, attest to that, as you're more on the medical side. But me personally, I get blood work done once a year. And one of the things that they check for is to make sure that my kidneys are functioning properly. And if, you catch it, in an early stage, then you can do something about it and try to prevent you having to any further damage, or prevent you from having to do dialysis or anything like that. So you want to have a fresh, clean diet to prevent kidney disease. You want to stay. And the thing about kidney disease, once you have kidney disease, some of the foods that are healthy for you to prevent it are some of the foods that you have to stay away from, which I'll kind of go into and talk about here. But Gerald, are you still having issues hearing me, or do you want me to just kind of keep going?
Yeah, you can keep on going. I'm able to listen to you very well now.
Okay, perfect.
A bit clearer.
Okay, awesome. So, Gerald and I, on our last conversation, we spoke about the functions, of the kidney. And one of the main functions of the kidney is to rid and remove waste from the body. It helps to actually balance out your minerals in your body, balance like your electrolytes, and remove excess fluids from the body. So those are two of probably the main functions of the kidney, and it does it naturally. One of the things that you can do to help that process is to drink plenty of water. If there's the number one thing you could do to help prevent kidney disease, is to drink a lot of water to help flush out your kidney, to help balance out those minerals and your electrolytes, and then that will actually help to prevent kidney stones as well, because then calcium buildup is what causes kidney stones. And if you drink plenty of fluids, plenty of water mainly, that's what the kidney like. And that's one of the things I learned from Gerald, is that the kidney loves to work, right? The kidney loves when you drink plenty of fluids and eat the foods and so forth that's going to, help it do what it's supposed to do. So those are kind of the functions of the kidney. Now, there are 3 minerals for sure, and Gerald, I think, touched on this earlier, that you want to, once you develop kidney disease, you want to limit in your diet. And there's sodium and potassium and phosphorus. And I'll kind of touch on each one of those and some of the foods that you need to eliminate from your diet once you have, kidney disease. Now, sodium not only will it build up in your kidneys and your body can't flush it out properly if you have kidney disease. Sodium actually helps to contribute to high blood pressure, and sodium help with high cholesterol. Like, you want to minimize sodium in your diet, period. But with kidney disease, you definitely want to minimize it. And what a lot of people don't know, that processed foods, right, Gerald? Processed foods, any foods that are pre-packaged, especially processed meat. When you go to the grocery store, you're buying stuff like sausage or frankfurters. I don't know, what you guys call it in your country or wherever, but it's the pre-made meat that are pre-packaged meat. These meats are full of sodium. Even microwave foods that you put in your fridge, that's full of sodium. Anything, canned foods, a lot of canned foods are full of sodium. So you want to limit those from your diet, because your body, now your kidney is not doing what it's supposed to do. So your body is not going to be able to get rid of that sodium out of your kidneys as it should when when it's normal. So prepackaged foods, you don't have to eat them. You want to eat more whole, fresh foods. And with that, what you want to do is look at your food labels. So when you go to the grocery store, if you have kidney disease, or your kidney's not functioning in its tip-top shape, you want to look at your food labels and make sure that it's a small amount of these minerals, the phosphorus, the potassium, the phosphorus, phosphorus, potassium, and sodium. You want to look at your food label. So your diet is going to change significantly once you have kidney disease. Like, we all need to, right, Gerald, look at the food label just in general. We need to do that. But when you have kidney disease, for sure, because potassium is another big one. Everybody know we need potassium. It is an electrolyte. Our body needs it to, balance out the fluids and so forth. We all need electrolytes. Bananas, they're a great source of potassium for normal people. Avocado is a great source of potassium for normal people. But once you have kidney disease, you want to remove those foods from your diet. You want to minimize the bananas, the potassium, plantains. I know where I'm from, we eat a lot of plantains in Jamaica. I don't know if you guys do, Gerald, where you are, but you want to kind of limit those out of your diet as well. And as far as the phosphorus, you look at your food label when you're buying foods that are prepackaged. Anything PHOS, phosphate, phosphorus, something, another, all these big words that you can't pronounce. Once you see those things, it's probably going to be a no-no, or you want to make sure that you're limiting just a limited amount in your diet if you have kidney disease, or if your kidneys are not functioning the way that they are supposed to. Now, there are a lot of really good foods that you can add to your diet, and starchy foods. So foods that are high in starches, you may want to limit those from your diet as well. But usually, as a nutrition specialist will tell you, you want to not eat like white bread, white pasta, white rice, stuff like that. But if you have kidney disease, that's probably what you want to eat, because the foods that, like brown rice, you want to limit that, and it's probably better to eat white rice. In a normal kidney, we're eating brown rice because it has that fiber and those extra layers, and it has the phosphorus and maybe even a little bit of sodium in those things. In a normal kidney, we'll be able to flush it out of the system properly, right? In the kidney that's not so normal, you want to stay away from stuff like brown rice, even though it's good for you. You want to eat the foods that are kind of stripped down, which is kind of counterproductive in a normal kidney. But this is what you've done to your body, and this is just how we'll have to treat it, moving forward. But what you can replace instead of the brown rice, and if you don't want to eat white rice, foods like bulgur. And I don't know, do you guys have bulgur where you are? Gerald, can you hear me okay?
I haven't got it.
I'm sorry?
I haven't come across it anywhere. Maybe perhaps it does exist, but I haven't really found it anywhere.
Yeah, but in a lot of African countries, I'm surprised that you don't. I know in Jamaica, I grew up eating bulgur, and it's a wheat, buckwheat. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's another wheat that's very nutritious, but they have a higher concentration of protein. Which, if you are, if you have kidney disease, you want to increase your protein, not too much. But you want to increase your protein, because when Gerald do your dialysis and he's taking out that blood and he's balanced it out, some protein is actually removed in that process. And we all know protein is good for helping to build strong muscles and so forth. So, while you're limiting all this other stuff, you want to increase your protein level. That's why one would probably say like a keto diet is probably a healthy diet for people with kidney disease. I'm not really a big fan of that, but I mean, I guess in certain cases I can see it, but you would have to remove certain types of foods like avocado. Avocado is a good healthy fatty food that you can probably eat if you're on keto, but you want to take that out of your diet if you're on dialysis. So you up your protein intake, because when you do your dialysis, some of the protein is taken out when they do that. And what I learned from Gerald couple weeks and we have our conversation was they remove in dialysis process, they remove your blood. They actually filter the blood and put it back into your body, which is what us normal people, that's what the body does. In that process, protein is taken out. Now, protein, healthy protein, you want to do, like if you're doing chicken breast, you want to take away the skin from the chicken. So the skinless chicken would be a better option, less sodium and so forth in the skinless chicken. So you want to take the skin off. And certain seafoods, is a great source of healthy fats and healthy protein that you want to include, in your diet, if you are on, kidney disease. Now, veggies like peppers, bell peppers is a great source of antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, phytochemicals. So, for example, if you have kidney disease and you're like, okay, I can't eat all these foods that are, rich in potassium, and a lot of vegetables are rich in potassium. Like kale is rich in potassium. So if you want to remove kale or minimize kale out of your diet, now you can add cabbage. Now, cabbage is great. Cabbage is low in potassium, but it has it's vitamin K. Vitamin K helps with your blood, and it helps to keep the blood flowing, and it helps to prevent blood clots. So you can do purple kale, very nutritious, right? So you can, if you're removing, something like broccoli or kale, cabbage, purple cabbage. Cabbage category, cauliflower. Now you want to remove potatoes because it's real starchy. But if you do mashed cauliflower is a great alternative to mashed potatoes, right? So you just have to be creative with your diet and learn the foods that are high in potassium, high in sodium, and remove those foods, and phosphorus. Remove those foods from your diet, because the kidney just don't work the same way, that it used to. If we know we're talking about like menus and dishes that you can put together, egg whites. You can have egg whites for breakfast. Scrambled egg white with some bell peppers. That's a great source. A half a slice of white bread, because I can't believe I'm saying this, because I just say don't eat white bread, like just stay away from it. But white bread is probably one of the things that cause the kidney disease in the first place. Because when we eat these foods like white rice, white bread, white pasta, foods that are stripped of the minerals and the vitamins, it causes diabetes. Diabetes can cause kidney. So now we're going to where we have to eat the foods that are not recommended in the first place. Again, it's weird, but it's just, a part of having kidney disease, removing certain foods from your diet. And even with fluids, you will tell people, Gerald, drink plenty of water. But when you have kidney disease, you want to drink, plenty of water, but you don't want fluids to build up in your body, because your body is not able to remove that fluid as it would normally, right? So you want to be careful with your fluid
Exactly.
intake, right?
Absolutely, yes, because your kidneys can no longer balance the body fruits, so we have to cut back on the fruits that you used to take. And by the way, not only the fruits, but this time around, even foods that contain a lot of fruits, just like ice, foods which have a lot of gelatin, so that we keep your fruit in check.
Yes, yes. And then I need to touch on dairy. Dairy is, you want to remove or minimize dairy products, milks and cheeses and margarine and stuff like that from your diet. But there's always alternative, right? And that's kind of what this conversation is about, is to not say, okay, take away kale and maybe even broccoli. They have, high in phosphorus. But what do I replace it with? You replace it with cabbage. You replace it with purple cabbage, right? And I'm saying take away Coca-Cola. No, dark sodas are high in phosphorus. Again, you guys will save yourself a lot, of time and energy and additional stress if you read the food labels. So if you have kidney disease or you know someone who have kidney disease, when you go, you're gonna need a little bit more time in the grocery store, and you need to actually read and look at your food labels to make sure that the sodium, the phosphorus, the potassium are not in the foods that you are buying. And all this information you can look up online. You can Google, but those are the three big ones that I know for sure that you have to limit in your diet. And the dairy, if you take out milk out of your diet, just regular cow's milk out of your diet, there's so many milk alternatives. There's almond milk, there's pea milk, there is oat milk. I make homemade almond milk myself, blend up my almonds with water, strain it, and you have fresh almond milk, that doesn't have all the additives and, all the extra stuff that they put into it that's going to probably build up in your kidneys if they're not, functioning, properly. So, a couple of things or, dishes or whatever that you can make. I'm big on smoothies. I am big on smoothies. You can do your nuts and your seeds, maybe blueberries. Blueberries are low in calories. They're one of the fruits that are low in phosphorus, and potassium. So berries, pineapples. You can have pineapples. Pineapples is another good food that is low in calories and low in the phosphorus and the stuff that you need to stay away from. So if you put some blueberries and purple cabbage, and some pineapples, and add a handful of almonds, and you're getting your healthy fats, and add those in a smoothie, mix that up. That could be a perfect snack throughout the day, or a perfect breakfast or something like that, because you have your protein, your carbs, and your healthy fats that you're getting from your nuts. So that would be an option for breakfast. Scramble some eggs with some bell peppers, like I mentioned before. For an option for dinner, grill or bake a piece of skinless chicken breast. Vegetables like your asparagus, that's low in phosphorus that you can add to your diet. Grilled asparagus and a piece of maybe salmon or something like that. Grill those, and that could be your dinner. A handful of berries, that's a great option for a snack or something like that throughout your day. Now, for people with kidney disease, usually have high blood pressure and diabetes and so forth. So you want to have consistent meals, which is how we should be eating anyways. But you don't want to, throw off your blood sugar. You don't want to skip meals for sure. You want to make sure that you are eating. Don't skip meals. That's just not what your body wants when you're going through something like kidney disease, when you may have diabetes and high blood pressure and so forth. So you want to have consistent. Every 3 to 4 hours, you need to be eating small portions of meal to get your insulin in check, to get your blood sugar in check. And so you won't have these spikes, and then your body's like out of equilibrium. Well, I don't think that's the medical term. Geros will probably know the medical term. But you kind of get the point. And that's how we should eat just generally, in life, is small meals throughout. Another option for something like a dinner would be stuffed bell peppers. So if you get a whole bell pepper and you cut out and take out the insides of it, something like maybe like ground meat or something, ground turkey or something like that, is low in sodium. You want to make sure that it's, you get a nice clean cut of meat, or chop up your meat if you want to do, some chicken. Chop up some chicken, saute your chicken with your whatever you season it with, put it in your bell peppers, stick that bad boy in the oven, and you have a nice clean meal that's not high in potassium, or all the other things that we need to stay away from.
Okay, thanks so much. And talking about protein still, like how we said, because one of the functions of your kidney is actually to remove waste products from food metabolism. That's including your protein. So in the initial stages of your kidney failure, you actually want to limit protein, like you
Yes.
said. But when the
Mhm.
patient reaches at the terminal end, what we call end stage renal disease or kidney failure, their actual protein requirements go high this time
Higher.
around. So
Right.
like she
Right.
was, this is the time you need to actually bring in your protein, but you want to
Mhm.
bring in the right of protein. She talked about
Mhm.
stuff like egg. The reason why she did put egg yolks because egg yolks are really rich in phosphorus,
It
and we
is.
want to prevent us from coming into your body. So we want to provide you with skinless chicken, like she put it, with egg whites, so that you can get the right amount of protein in your diet, especially as a dialysis patient.
Yep, for sure. Because a lot of the things that we used to eat, Gerald, before you have kidney disease, it's almost the opposite of what you're doing right now. Right? Like for me, like you don't want too much protein, right? Like we want just enough. But like you say, when you're in that stage, your body needs it. Because again, when you're doing that dialysis, you're actually taking out some of the protein in that process, and your body needs it. A lot of people, while they're going through dialysis or those last stages, they're going to lose weight. Right, and they're going to probably even lose muscle mass or whatever, especially from that dialysis process. But the good, healthy, fresh cut quality of meat is what you want to put into your diet. Stuff like cucumbers, zucchini, I mentioned bell peppers, those are the vegetables, because a lot of vegetables are high in phosphorus. But those are example of a handful of vegetables, that are, not so high. Because you still need a little potassium, you still need a little, there are minerals in your body that we need. You just don't need that amount that, regular people need. Um, yeah,
Yeah, and absolutely, like how you put it is when patients are on dialysis most of the times, sometimes we are preparing them for a transplant. And for the patient to be good transplant candidates, is they have to have some energy. We don't want malnourished patients. So that's where
right.
protein now comes in, giving these patients good protein so that by the time of transplant, these patients are able to, withstand the efforts or all the energy we need for
Yes.
a transplant
Mhm.
patient. But why we tend to give patients like so much protein at that stage is now because the patient is dependent on dialysis. So we are able to help the patient take off all the waste products
Mhm.
manually by dialysis. So give the chance all these waste accumulate because you're removing them manually, but then the patient's getting the good protein and the good effects of proteins like building your muscle again, because protein is basically the building blocks of your body.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of when the patient is already on dialysis. But like we said, nutrition is very key when it comes to prognosis of kidney disease. And in the initial stage, first of all, when we don't give it the right diet, is you're going to get malnourished.
Yep. And that's the last thing you want when your body is going through something like, dialysis. It's a lot of strain on you, and, you need nutrition. We all do, right? But, your body goes through a lot more stress, when you're going through these things. So, you just need to be mindful of, the foods that you eat, and moderation is going to be key when you are on kidney disease. Try not to eat too big of a meal at one time. Small, moderate portions. 5 times a day at least you need to be eating. Every 3 to 4 hours, you need to be eating, small portions of food. And one other thing that I want to mention, as I talk about reading food labels, sodium we want to stay away from. But there are times when I know I've gone to the grocery store where I pick up something like some kind of salt, and it says like low sodium salt. but sometimes it's stuff like some kind of phosphorus that they're adding to it, to make up, to give it that salty taste or whatever. So, we need to be careful when you're reading it. These are the things. If it says something, more than likely it is, some type of phosphorus, that they're adding to it to put that taste back in that they took out, from the salt. So just be careful with that. And even with like low sugar, you want to do low sugar food if you are on diet, but just be careful of the other additives that they may be added in the food that's going to cause, the same effect. So we say take away sodium, and not I don't recommend using regular table salt, even for people who don't have diabetes, but kosher salt. Kosher salt has a lower percent of sodium than just regular salt, and maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit more costly depending on where you are in the world. You may not be able to find it, but just the alternative to regular table salt, which I think you should just take out of your diet, period. If you can replace it with kosher salt, do that. If you find a food that says low sodium and it's supposed to be salt, just look at what they're replacing it with, and you will know how to make those decisions. But if you just mainly focus on the big three when you're looking at your food label, the sodium, the potassium, and the phosphorus, that will help you, a great deal, because one wouldn't imagine that something like soda, dark soda, you need to Coca-Cola or Sprite. We don't need to be drinking that stuff anyways. But if you do, when you're on kidney, you have kidney disease, do Sprite. Do a little bit of Sprite instead of the dark sodas, because the dark sodas does have the phosphorus in it. And I would recommend something like a kind of like a keto diet, maybe kind of like a Mediterranean diet, foods like olive oil, even like corn oil and stuff like that. Those are not, bad for you when you are on, when you have, kidney disease. So, just be careful and be very selective. Don't skip any meals. Make sure you have meals in moderation, and just have your consistent meals, throughout the day. Again, I love a good smoothie. Your dark berries, especially your blueberries, your pineapples, your nuts and seeds are always good. Flaxseed, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, good omega-3s. You can add them to your diet. Maybe a little bit macadamia nuts. That's actually one of the nuts that's low in phosphorus, that you can add, to your meals, or if you're eating a salad or something like that.
Oh, can you still
Are you?
hear me very well?
Yep, I can hear you, and I don't know if you guys can still hear me. So I guess Gerald is probably having some issues with hearing me. Hi there, you guys. Hi there, everyone, and thank you all for joining us for talking about foods that you can eat for kidney disease. So if you're here and you can still hear me, who do I see here? Hugo, Brenda. Stella A. If you guys are still here and you can hear me, just let us know. Talking about kidney disease, and while we may not have kidney
Um,
disease, we may know someone who have kidney
yeah, so
disease.
I was trying to say something that still when you come to the hospital, because you're not going to wake up one day and you want to, get on a kidney friendly diet without a notes from your doctor or your dietitian. It's very, very important that you involve everyone, but
Yes,
especially when you're talking with your doctor, what happens is when you have high phosphorus, for example, there's something we call phosphate binders. So some of that, those are the drugs that will help, bind phosphorus so that doesn't accumulate in your bloodstream. But this one you have to discuss it with the doctor if you've reached a level of getting a phosphate binder. Even when you're on a phosphate binder, you still have to limit the kind of phosphorus you're getting from the diet. But this will depend on your serum levels of calcium and many other things. So that's why you have to talk with your doctor if it's the level of it actually start on a phosphate binder. The same applies for potassium. Potassium, we still have Caexerate. Caexerate, it's a certain powder that's out there and helps reduce on the absorption of the dietary potassium so that it doesn't accumulate in blood. But what happens is you still have to limit the potassium in your diet. But all this happens when you're discussing with your doctor.
Yep. So, and I totally agree, because most people who have kidney disease, one of the prescriptions you'll probably get is to go see a dietitian, right? And for everybody is different, because I mean, I guess you would know this more than I would, Gerald. Once you're at a certain stage, every stage of kidney disease is probably slightly different. Once you get to that end, it's going to be a little bit more restrictive than someone who find out, oh, my kidney is only reacting or working 10%, 10%, or, it's working 90%, but it's not working 100%. So, those are the things that you want to make sure that your doctor is communicating with you, with your dietitian, so they can know how restrictive your diet needs to be and what exactly you need to take out based on what stage of kidney disease you have, right, Gerald?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. And also what we have to remember from all this is especially in developing countries like Africa, you're going to find perhaps there are few dietitians, your doctor is your dietitian, is everything. So sometimes I know you can be constrained, but try as much as you can so that you can get the right information. Especially for you, what we are giving you here, we are just giving you a guide so that when you go and you're talking with the doctor, you know where to start from.
Right.
And that's what we are talking about here. We're not just recommending go and start on this. You have to first discuss with everything with your primary physician. So it's very, very important that you have that at the back of your mind.
Right. And then because you will know because most doctors are not nutritionists. That I will say, that I know from there, that most doctors don't study nutrition, right? And that's why there is a market for people who are people like myself, people who are dietitian, people who are in nutrition, because the doctor will give you a prescription to go to a nutritionist, but you only know that you have these issues when you see a doctor. Like a nutritionist is not going to be able to tell you, or a dietitian, that you have kidney disease. They don't know that. You have to go to see a doctor or a nurse or something to get your blood work done. Then they'll tell you what percent of kidney issue you have. You take that to your nutritionist or your dietitian, and they can tell you what you need to do. In some cases, it may just be you just need to back off of certain things. In some cases, you're going to have to be completely restrictive. So I'm not a doctor. Gerald is a nurse, but I'm not a doctor. So I'm just letting you know from my nutrition background that I have, because I can't look at you and tell you if you have kidney disease or not, or what stage of kidney disease that you are in. I can give you the guides, just based on what level of kidney disease. And then you will know for yourself, once you hear these conversations that people like Gerald and I have, and there are hundreds of other people out there on social media or around the world that are putting out this information that you can find to help yourself. We don't know it all. I know I don't know it all. But if you go to a doctor and they say, oh, you have kidney disease, you need to start eating more bananas and more avocados, something is not quite right. Right? So educating yourself is going to give you just an edge above. When you see that doctor and you see that nutritionist and they're telling you what to do, then you'll have an idea. And some of them may not even tell you, oh, you need to read the food label. There are a lot of not a lot, but some doctors will tell you, oh, you need to reduce this from your diet, reduce that from your diet. But what are you replacing it with? That's the important key here. That's why I say, if you take soda, you need to stop drinking dark sodas you need to be drinking Sprite. I'm not telling you to drink soda, but I'm just saying, you take that out of your diet. If you want to reduce your dairy, you remove milk and cow's product. You want to replace it with milk alternatives, like your almond milk and your maybe like your pea milk and stuff like that. If you're removing something like kale from your diet, which is just so nutritious but may have a little bit of phosphorus in it, then you want to replace it with some vegetables like cabbage, like cauliflower, like purple cabbage. If you're certain things that you're removing from your diet, that's what I'm here to say. This is what you can replace it with. You're taking out brown rice. You can replace it with something like bulgur. Bulgur has iron. Bulgur has protein. It's low in calories. It's low in phosphorus, and it's very healthy for you. If you've never heard of bulgur, go Google it. Bulgar. It's just a healthier source of those carbohydrates. You need to remove potatoes. Even sweet potatoes is so nutritious for you, but you want to remove just potatoes from your diet. But you can cook your cauliflower, mash it up, and then turn that into something, kind of like a mashed potato. So, that's where we are, just to help give you a little bit of information that's going to give you an edge. So when you talk to your doctor and your doctor sends you to a nutritionist, then, you will have some general idea as to, what to look for. If you know someone who has diabetes or has high blood pressure, it's now that they need to start taking care of themselves so they won't put themselves in this position that they have to be so restrictive with their diet.
Yeah, and absolutely, like we said from the beginning, is at every stage of kidney disease, you're going to have different nutritional requirements. For example, when there's something like I told you last time that we base on, and that is the estimated glomerular filtration rate, how much of the blood you're able to filter per minute, and you're still able to filter over 60 mils per minute. Sometimes you don't put you on any restrictions when it comes to a diet. But as you go down, as your EGFR goes down, then we start, coming in and restricting all these foods depending on how your kidney is able to, function. So it's important to know this at the back of your mind. But like we said, sometimes kidney disease is a comorbidity with other diseases like high blood pressure, diabetes. So sometimes you find, yes, there's some healthy carbohydrates for you for your kidney disease, but they are going to put your sugar out of hand. So sometimes that's why it's very important to discuss this with your physician and dietitian extensively so that you can come up with the best foods that you can actually keep on eating. But like we said, some of the foods that we've talked about, these are healthy choices. Even when you're not sick, you don't have to wait
That's right.
disease for you to start on these foods. These foods, they are absolutely healthy for you, and you can jump on them right now instead of you waiting to actually get sick.
Mm-hmm. That is very true. A lot of these things is just what we should be doing, anyway. Except for a few exceptions, we should be eating, moderate portion sizes, and we should be eating consistent meals throughout the day, and we should not be skipping meals. Starvation is just not the key. Your body and your brain does not really like that. I hear people talk about detoxing, and I'm just not a big fan of that. I think your body does what it's supposed to do when you eat properly. Having a green smoothie diet is not going to make your kidney or a green smoothie detox. If you do that for a week, it's not going to repair your kidney or make your kidney work any better. It's what you do over time. These things take years. Your kidney don't just automatically stop working. In rare cases, I mean, I'm sure there are cases, but for most people who have kidney disease that are as a result of like type 2 diabetes or something like that, this happened over years. So you putting yourself on a starvation diet to help detox your body? No, you drink plenty of water, You eat fresh fruits and vegetables. You eat the things that are clean, to clean out your colon. You drink plenty of water and eat the foods that are going to be healthy to help your kidney to function properly every day, most days of the week. So putting yourself on a starvation diet, your brain does not like that, your organs does not like that, and it's just not what you need to do. And I don't, I don't recommend it. We need to eat in moderation, and we need a constant supply of nutrients in our body. Someone said something to me about taking a break from food. You take a break from food for the 8 hours that you sleep. Your body is breaking from food. That's why we call it breakfast when we wake up in the morning, because you're breaking that fast. Your brain needs carbohydrate. Your muscles need protein. Your heart needs fat, right? We need those nutrients to keep us going. It's just being able to balance it out. And for the most part, keep it fresh and clean. That's what's going to prevent you from being in a position where you have to restrict your diet.
Yes, so I think we have already spent over an hour here talking about all. But as we come to a conclusion, maybe just in summary, I'll just let you, break all these foods that we've talked about, so that someone who has joined us or someone who's watching later this live stream, I can put it as a timestamp. They just go and right away watch this segment that you're going to talk about.
Right. Yeah. So the three things that we spoke about, that once you have kidney disease, you want to limit in your diet: the potassium, and I'll touch on that a little bit. Potassium, one of the greatest food sources of potassium is bananas. Another one, avocados, people don't know. So those things like that, you want to limit in your diet, foods that are high in potassium. Secondly, foods that are high in phosphorus, right? So, for example, if you take sodas, once you take this dark sodas, you want to limit that, like Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Limit that from your diet, and then you can replace that with something like Sprite if you do decide to, take sodas. You want to look at your food label to make sure that phosphorus is not, on those food label, and if it is, that the percent of phosphorus is actually low. Some foods you can have 30% phosphorus. That's almost a third of your daily intake in just one food item. So you want to look at your food label, make sure you're not having foods that are high in phosphorus. A lot of fruits and vegetables are high in phosphorus. Things like if you do egg yolk is high in phosphorus. If you're doing something like chicken, take the chicken skin off, because that may be high in phosphorus. But mainly read your food label. And then sodium. Sodium is another thing we want to limit in our diet generally, not only if you are if you have kidney disease, but one of the main culprits of sodium, is pre-packaged and pre-processed foods. So we're talking about pre-processed meat, sandwich meat, stuff like canned meat, stuff like hot dogs. Any pre-packaged food are usually going to be high in sodium. So read your food labels, or just try to limit those, in your diet, because sodium is used to preserve foods. But if you try to eat as whole and as fresh as you possibly can, then more than likely you will be limiting your sodium intake. And depending on what stage you are in your kidney disease, like Geros mentioned earlier, at the end stages of kidney disease, when your kidney is just like on its last leg, you want to increase your protein intake, but you want to have fresh, clean cuts of meat, right? Like sea bass, that's a good source of healthy protein. Chicken without the breast, good source of healthy protein. And lots of vegetables actually have protein in it, but you want to be careful of the phosphorus. So these are the things. Fluids are good for normal kidney, but you don't want to over fluid, because your kidney helps to remove fluid. But if your kidneys are not working as they should, then you can build up fluids in your kidneys or in your body like that. So, those are the things that you want to focus on. Those are the big three. Read your food labels, have, fresh, clean, healthy cuts of food, eat, don't skip meals, eat in moderation, and have your daily supply of eating, 5 times a day in small portions.
Oh, that I think that one says it all. That one says it all. You've already exhausted it very well. Um, I don't know. We don't need to add anything about that, but just to thank everyone for watching. And I just can't wait to have you next time and we get another topic to talk about. But this one, yes, with struggles of internet, of course. But I'm happy that at the end it finally stabilized and I was able to get you well, clearer, much better than how we started. And that's why I actually asked you so that we can give it in a summary so that people can actually get what we are talking about, those ones who could not get us perfect well. But otherwise, it was a pleasure having you, and I can't wait to have you next time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, Gerald. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you as well. Thank you.
Yeah, before you sign out, where can people find you, especially your socials?
I am actually here on YouTube as well. It's Barret Fitness and Nutrition. So if you like to hop on over and check out my channel, I'm the self-proclaimed smoothie queen. I love my smoothies. And then I'm also on Facebook, Barret Fitness and Nutrition. And on Instagram, there are 2 channels. There's Barret Fitness and there's Barret Nutrition. And you will see this logo, so you know it is me. So I'm pretty much on all social media platforms. If you type Barret Fitness or my name, Peter Gay Barret, you will find me there as well.
Yeah, it was.
I think you froze up just a little bit, Gerald. I'm not sure if you can hear me. So I'm not sure if you guys can hear me or if you guys can hear Gerald, but it looks like we're having some internet issues again. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. And thank you guys for the conversation. And hop on over and, check me out if you guys would like to. Barret, yeah. And, thank you guys for the conversation. So until next time, you guys, I think we lost Gerald. So I am about to hop off and thank you all.